We keep wondering why your life isn't changing. But if you are being real, some of us are feeling the very habits that are destroying the future we are praying for. We want success, we want money, we want peace, we want growth. But our daily habits are moving us in the opposite direction. Then we act surprised when life gives us exactly what our actions have been preparing for us. Sometimes I sit down and think about the person I want to become 5 years from now. I think about the life I want, the goals I want to achieve, the things I want to experience, the people I want to help, the places I want to go. And then I ask myself a question that honestly makes me uncomfortable. If I continue doing exactly what I am doing today, am I actually moving closer to that future or am I slowly moving away from it? Because the truth is, our future is not built by what we say, it is built by what we repeatedly do. A lot of us have beautiful dreams, we have beautiful plans, we have beautiful visions. We know exactly what we want our lives to look like. The problem is not the dream. The problem is not, let me say, the problem is the habits we keep protecting. One habit that silently destroys the future is procrastination, disguised as preparation. I have done this before. Maybe you have too. Maybe you have done it too. We tell ourselves we are still learning. We tell ourselves we are still planning. We are still waiting for the right time. We are still getting ready. But weeks become months, months become years, and we are still standing in the same place talking about what we are going to do instead of actually doing it. Sometimes what we call preparation is actually fear. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of looking stupid. So instead of taking the first step, we stay in our comfort zone and convince ourselves we are being strategic. Another habit that destroys the future is constantly distracting ourselves from reality. Every free moment becomes an entertainment. The moment we are bored, we pick up our phones. The moment we are alone with our thoughts, we find something to scroll through. The moment life becomes uncomfortable, we look for something to distract us. And before we know it, hours have disappeared. Days have disappeared. Opportunities have disappeared. What's scary is that distractions don't steal your future all at once. They steal it little by little until one day you realize you have spent more time watching other people build their lives than building your own. Then there is the habit of making excuses that sound reasonable. This one is dangerous because sometimes our excuses are actually true. Life is difficult, people disappoint us, things don't always go according to plan. We face challenges that are real, but at some point we have to ask ourselves, what am I going to do with the situation I am in? Because an excuse may explain why we are struggling, but it does not change anything. And some of us have become so comfortable explaining our problems that we have stopped looking for solutions. Another future destroying habit is surrounding ourselves with negativity and then wondering why we feel stuck. Think about the conversations you have every day. Think about the content you consume every day. Think about the people you spend the most time with. If every conversation is about gossip, complaints, drama, and negativity, eventually that becomes the environment your mind lives in. You cannot constantly feed your mind negativity and expect positivity to grow from there. There is also the habit of choosing comfort over growth. This is something I have to remind myself of all the time. Growth is uncomfortable, learning is uncomfortable, discipline is uncomfortable, taking risks is uncomfortable, having difficult conversations is uncomfortable, improving yourself is uncomfortable. But comfort has a price. Every time we choose comfort instead of growth, we are choosing a version of ourselves that stays exactly the same. And the worst part is that comfort feels harmless in the moment, but years later, we start paying the bills. One habit that nobody talks about enough is breaking promises to yourself. Imagine if someone constantly made promises to you and never kept them. Eventually, you would stop trusting them. Yet, many of us do this to ourselves every day. We say we are going to start tomorrow. We say we are going to wake up early. We say we are going to be more disciplined. We say we are going to work on our goals. Then tomorrow comes and we don't do it. Listen, after repeating this long enough, we slowly lose trust in ourselves. We stop believing our own words. We stop believing we are capable of change. Not because we are not capable, but because we have trained ourselves not to trust our own comments. And maybe the most dangerous habit of all is assuming there is still plenty of time. I think this one is is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. We act like life is waiting for us. We act like opportunities will always be there. We act like we can always start next year. But time does not stop moving. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. One day you wake up and realize the future you kept talking about has arrived. And you are still the same person you were years ago. That is why this message is not just for you, it's for me too. Because when I look at my own life, I realize the biggest battles are not always against other people. Sometimes the biggest battle is against the habits we have normalized, the habits we have justified, the habits we have protected for long that no longer look dangerous to us. Maybe that is why some people stay stuck for years, not because they are incapable, not because they are unlucky, not because they don't have potential, but it is because they are trying to build a better future while holding on to the habits that are destroying it. So, before we blame life, before we blame people, before we blame circumstances, maybe we need to look at ourselves and ask one uncomfortable question. What habit am I defending today that my future self will wish I had to let go of years ago? Because the future we are hoping for is being built right now, not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, right now, through the habits we repeat and nobody is watching. Yeah. The saddest thing is not feeling. The saddest thing is arriving in the future and realizing you became exactly what your habits we are preparing you to become. I just want to share.